Hey guys, what's up? Nine Plagues back with another video here from the Burning Fish crew. What we've got today is taking on ghost ships. Now, first of all, don't get these confused with skelly ships. The fight is very different. Most ghost ships only take 3 shots and they're done. They also tend to shoot very different cannonballs, such as the phantom balls and the fireballs. And those are quite different from what you'll face on a skelly ship that can, number one, usually take a lot more damage and also shoot a bigger variety of curse balls as well as other types that the ghost ships cannot. So don't think that if you're great at blowing apart ghost ships that you have quite the same accuracy and ability to quickly sink skelly galleons. Not that they're really overly that hard either, but they just tend to take quite a bit more shots, and they actually have a crew on board that you've got to go down and bash apart before you can fully scuttle. So ghost ships, first of all, we're gonna look into solo slooping them and also doing them with a crew. I would say one of the first things with a crew, if you're playing with an open crew, that's fine. Just make sure they're a pretty steady open crew that has a little bit of experience in the game. This is not really an advanced thing to take on ghost ships. They're not overly hard or difficult. But if you can't get your crew wrangled together properly to work in unison, you have a good chance of dying. The ghost ship battle I'm talking about today can be used as advice for fighting Flameheart, but I'm mostly just focusing on fighting the actual Soul's Voyage, which is RNG for different naval battles with ghost ships. So that's pretty much what we're looking at today, because the actual Flameheart battle is slightly different in the sense that it mostly deals with more waves of ships, and the actual final ship of the Burning Blade it's a little different than some of the captains that you'll fight with in the Soul's Voyages, which we'll talk about a little bit later down the line here. Anyway, like I said, make sure you got yourself a crew that can work in unison. If you're playing with your friends, make sure it's the friends that will listen to whoever is the captain at the time. If you got a bunch of people who want to drink and vomit and fall off the ship, that's funny, that's a good time, but they're usually not the crew you want to bring along to get into a naval battle with a fleet, because you do need some partnership. You do need some gelling of the group to work together. You need probably one person who is going to be your main repair person. Your cannon shots, the farther they can shoot, the better. Long distance shots can really add a lot of strength to these, because a lot of the galleons have inaccurate shots as soon as you get a distance away. And I guess the other thing would be a good captain who can steer away from the kegs that a lot of these ships drop, and can also bring you up on the side or to the back of the ship to make sure you can get shots on them without them totally crushing you. I do not advise anybody to try and anchor or lower your sails completely and try to sit in the middle of a battle and shoot it. You will end up in what I call the repair loop. That means you get shot full of holes, you repair all the holes, you try to get back to the top to start moving again, and then more holes appear, or you're caught on fire. And especially if you're solo slooping, do not anchor. I think one of the most noob things I ever see people do is try to center themselves right in the middle of a ghost ship battle. They anchor, and they're pretty much screwed, because, like I said, the repair loop starts to happen. You get holes in the bottom, water's pouring in, you got to repair it. At the same time, don't feel like you constantly have to repair. Don't just repair every time you get one single hole. Even as a solo sloop, don't do that. Wait until you hear the creaking of the water below. There is a very basic and noticeable sound cue that lets you know the bottom of the ship is filling up with water. If you get hit by like one cannonball or you get set on fire, you got yourself some time to keep shooting. If you've got that perfect aim, you got to remember it is only 3 shots to scuttle a ghost ship. Unless it is a captain, it's only 3 shots. If you have a chance to take 2 more of those shots after you've hit it one more time, stay up there and finish that, then go down and repair. All right? If you have ships surrounding you, try to hit as many as you can and then get your ship out of there and repair. But number one, don't anchor and try to repair. And number 2, don't constantly run downstairs to repair one single hole. That goes for a full crew or solo slooping. Next up, make sure when you go into these battles, you are not going in with stock supplies. That is a bad idea. You want to make sure you have probably double what you start with. I don't remember the numbers offhand. I think as a solo sloop, you start with 15 cannonballs in each barrel. And please remember, you cannot catch a ghost ship on fire, so don't try to count your flame balls as anything that's going to do damage to them. They're not going to cause any kind of impact. Same with blunders. You can't knock down the masts. You can actually use a chain ball to cause damage and make a ship disappear, but there's no anchoring, boarding, or breaking the masts of a set of ghost ships. So mainly focus on basic cannonballs. Same with cursed too. You're not going to get any of the cursed effects. It's not going to do a piece cannon, a jig cannon, anything like that. It's not going to work. So like I said, stick to the basics. Fill yourself up with a bunch of wood too. You're, for the most part, not going to take as much damage just because they scuttle so fast. But if you get yourself into a fight with a captain and you are up there around, maxed out level 75 souls, that final captain can sometimes take quite a bit of shots. I've seen captains that take as many as 20 shots before they finally go down, and you might find yourself taking quite a bit of damage before you can finally sink that. So, like I said, don't just try to run in there with stock. Now, at the same time, do remember that if you perhaps forgot to fill up or you started to run a little bit low and didn't realize it, they do start to drop storage crates, but not every single ship will drop one. The good thing about these is, number 1, they usually have a good supply of wood and cannonballs. I would advise, especially if you're running low, to make sure you go for those first before you keep putting yourself into the battle. Number 1, because these are actually part of the treasure. Yes, you can turn these in and get probably about 1k or so on level 1 souls. Obviously more and more as you raise the bars on your souls flag. And it's not like the Davy Jones ones where you just can't turn them in or they don't give you any money at all. So remember that you can finally get money on these. You may have noticed in the past that was turned off. Rare actually had shut down being able to get money from those because people were abusing the tall tale number 5 for Davy Jones and turning in like 25 different cargoes for a quick run through that. But now it has been turned back on, and it's been divided into the Davy Jones ones do not give you money, and the Ghost Ship ones and the Flameheart ones do give you money. So save them, get the supplies, get the wood, get the cannonballs, and you will be well prepared for this battle. And also realize that when you sink a captain, usually they will drop quite a bit more treasure. Now, this is really going to vary with how many captains you're going to get in these battles. It'll also vary with waves too. You usually only have a max of 3 waves of ships coming. You'll know when this happens. There is actual audio cues that show you the next wave, and you'll know when you have a captain amongst the ships because usually they're not as transparent as the other ghost ships. Oftentimes you'll notice their sails are far darker. They usually have a symbol on it, and it's just, you can pretty much tell there's quite a bit of difference. They also tend to take a couple more shots than the average ghost ship, which is only 3 for every typical basic ship. But it seems like it's anywhere from 5 on up to 20, depending on the level of the person who activated the Souls mission. So please realize if you're playing with some new players and they're not so accurate or they're not so good at repairing super fast or making all their shots, I would suggest to you that you allow them to buy the Voyage because it will be toned down a bit for their level. If a level 75 Souls Emissary character buys the Voyage and they bring along someone who's only level 5 and has barely played the game, it might get a bit hairy. So be aware of that. Let the person who is the weakest in the group buy it, unless you feel like they are efficient and comfortable enough to take on a greater battle than what the average player for their level does. So, for example, if they reset their entire character or they just kind of have a natural skill with the game, maybe then it's okay. But for the most part, try to choose via the lowest level of your crew. And that way everything will kind of be averaged out for the battle that you'll take on. When you sink the captain's ships, that's when you're finally going to see your treasure drop. Do not wait until the full battle is over. Try to distance yourself from the battle and collect that treasure. It's going to disappear in 5 minutes. And trust me, you're not going to finish one of these battles in 5 minutes. You're not going to be there for hours fighting these. These will typically run anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes max. But, how many sets of treasures that are sinking while you're waiting to finish your adventure? So, yes, grab that as soon as the ship scuttles and put that treasure on board, especially if you're running souls. You'll want those skulls ASAP. And remember, the captain's skull is always going to be your greatest money. Usually you want to even separate those because there's a commendation involved with putting Captain Ghost skulls up for sale. You can eventually get a special ghostly unicorn sale. I don't know what the exact name of the sale is. I don't have every cosmetics name remembered, but for the most part, those will eventually lead to the most money and commendations. So possibly separate those and then continue on. Keep doing your battle. Collect your storage crates. Collect your treasure ASAP. Don't let it just sit there in the water or yes, it's gone. Aside from that, make sure what you're doing is staying close enough to get your shots off, depending on how good your cannon man is who's doing those shots. Stay as close as they need. You don't want to get too close, and you don't want to be within a group of ships. You don't want to get them huddling around you, or you will just get blasted to no end. You want to make sure you got one guy running back and forth for cannonballs and fire, for storage crates, for grabbing treasure from the harpoon, and make sure you're working all together in unison. As far as food and health is concerned, you probably won't have to worry too much. I've gone in there with stock health supplies, something like 20 bananas or something like that. You don't tend to take so much damage that you're losing health constantly. This isn't really a very heavy damage to PCs themselves. It's mostly damage to your ship. That's the main thing you got to maintain. If you are close to an island while you're fighting, so for example, Shipwreck Bay or something like that, do realize that, number one, the ghost ships can go through the rocks. Don't pursue them and slam into the rock yourself. Also realize they can teleport, so if they tend to be getting way too far away from you, don't lower your sails to maximum speed and try to chase. Maybe just wait and see where they reappear after they teleport. Also realize that when you are shooting, the best way is usually to keep a medium to low speed. Your best shots and most accurate shots are going to come from you having enough time to be able to get off at least 3 shots on every ship. If you've got your sails fully down and you're catching wind, you're most likely going to be going so fast that you'd get maybe max 1 or 2 shots off, and that's not enough to sink even a single ghost ship. So keep it low to medium, but don't stop moving. Try to stay in a circle, the death spiral move, which many of you probably already know of. Encircling a set of ships or one ship will help you out quite a bit. That'll keep giving you an angle to shoot while keeping your distance and keeping you moving. Anything aside from that, I'm more than happy to hear your guys' advice in the comments below. I hope this video has helped out. And if you have any questions or any further advice you'd like to add to what I've already said, I'm more than welcoming to adding on. If there's any future videos you'd like to see, don't be afraid to request either. All the footage that you see today is from all of us at the Burning Fish Crew. You can check us out on our separate YouTube and Twitch channels. I believe as of right now we have myself, 9 Plagues. This is the same for my Twitch channel name, Pure Darkness and Xenoglaive. and Drank Call. You can probably see their names within this video itself, and feel free to follow, watch, or maybe even join us in a ship crew and battle alongside us. Until next time, I hope you have a great day. I've been Nine Plagues, and I will see you again real soon.